So, we're going to try something a little ambitious today. We're going to tell the biggest story of all time, the 13.8 billion year history of, well, everything, from the Big Bang right up to this very moment. It's a story about stars, planets, and the wild cosmic journey that led, believe it or not, directly to you. Let's dive in. Okay, trying to wrap your head around 13.8 billion years of history can feel impossible, right? So, the book this is based on gives us a fantastic way to think about it. Imagine this whole explainer is like a subway map. We're not going to stop at every single tiny station. Instead, we're going to focus on the major lines, the big transfer points, the key connections that tell the grand story of how we all got here. All right, so like with any map, the very first thing you got to do is find that "You Are Here" sticker. So to really get a sense of the scale of our story, let's find our cosmic address. We're going to start zooming out from home. We start right here, on familiar ground, planet Earth, our home base, tucked away in what you could call a quiet little suburb of the solar system. Let's pull back a bit. Our little planet is in the Orion Spur, which is one of the spiral arms of our home galaxy, the Milky Way. Suddenly, we're looking a lot smaller. Let's keep going. Our entire galaxy is actually part of a smallish cluster of about 50 other galaxies. It's got a kind of uninspired name, honestly. They call it the local group. And now for the final zoom out. Our local group is just one tiny neighborhood in this colossal structure of over 100,000 galaxies, all bound together by gravity. This is the Laniakea supercluster. And yeah, that tiny little dot, that's us. This is the immense stage where our story unfolds. So now that we kind of know where we are, let's rewind the clock all the way back to see when it all started. This brings us to what the book calls Threshold 1, the very beginning. This is where it all kicks off, 13.8 billion years ago, the Big Bang. And let's be clear, this wasn't some explosion in space. No, this was the beginning of space, the beginning of time, and all the energy and matter that would ever exist. But here's the crazy thing. For all its dramatic flair, the early universe was, well, chemically, it was really, really boring. It was pretty much just two elements, hydrogen and helium. And you just can't build much with only those two ingredients. To get anything interesting, like a planet or a person, the universe had to get a lot more complex. Now, this whole origin story is structured around a few key moments of increasing complexity, or thresholds. We're going to jump ahead a bit to Threshold 3, which is a real game changer, the creation of new chemical elements. So how did our boring universe get the building blocks it needed? The secret sauce is something the book calls Goldilocks conditions. You know, like the porridge. These are moments in time and space where things are not too hot, not too cold, but just right for something new and more complex to pop into existence. And to forge new elements, the universe needed places with absolutely insane temperatures and pressures. And it found those conditions inside stars. Here's how it works. First, gravity starts pulling all that simple hydrogen and helium into these gigantic clouds. Then the pressure builds and builds until, boom, the clouds ignite and you've got stars. For millions, sometimes billions of years, these stars act like giant cosmic furnaces, smashing simple atoms together to make heavier, more complex ones. And finally, when the really big stars die, they go out with a bang, a supernova, scattering all those new, shiny elements across the universe. And this is where this giant cosmic story becomes your story. The iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen you are literally breathing in right now, every single atom in your body that's heavier than hydrogen was cooked up inside a star that lived and died billions of years ago. We are, quite literally, made of stardust. So now the universe is stocked with all these cool new ingredients. The stage is set for an entirely new kind of complexity to appear. We're now jumping to Threshold 5, where something just unbelievable happens. Life emerges. To really get what life is, you have to understand its mortal enemy, entropy. It's a fundamental law of the universe that says everything tends to fall apart, to move towards disorder and chaos. Your coffee gets cold, buildings crumble, you get the idea. But life is the great rebel. It actively fights back against entropy, creating and holding on to these incredible little pockets of order and structure. I absolutely love this quote from the book. It makes entropy sound like this cosmic tax collector, rubbing its hands together. Because creating order isn't free. Every living thing, from a tiny bacterium to a giant whale, has to constantly find and burn energy just to pay those energy taxes and keep itself from falling apart. The second it stops, entropy wins. So when you boil it all down, what is life actually doing? It's following a super simple to-do list. Number 1, stay alive. Keep fighting that entropy. And number 2, make copies of myself so this whole process can keep going after I'm gone. That's it. Everything, and I mean everything, life does is driven by those 2 simple goals. And that simple to-do list brings us, finally, to us. To the most recent major threshold, the one that explains what makes our species so different. Our species' superpower has a name: collective learning. It's our one-of-a-kind ability to share information with such incredible precision that it doesn't just get passed on, it accumulates. It builds on itself generation after generation. Think about it like this. Other animals learn, for sure, but their knowledge is passed on mostly through genes or by simple copycatting. When a really smart chimpanzee dies, most of what it learned dies with it. But humans, we use precise symbolic language. We talk, we write, we code to build this enormous shared pool of knowledge that just grows and grows and grows. Each one of us gets to stand on the shoulders of billions of ancestors. This superpower of collective learning has accelerated things so fast, it's been so effective, that it's actually pushed our planet into a whole new chapter of its history, an era defined by us, the Anthropocene. Let that sink in. For the first time in Earth's 4.5 billion-year history, a single species, us, has become the main engine of change for the entire planet. Our collective learning, our technologies, our sheer numbers, they're now so powerful that we're changing the basic chemistry of the oceans and the atmosphere. And this brings us right here, right now, to this really profound moment. After 13.8 billion years of cosmic evolution, we are the first species on this planet to be able to look back and understand this vast origin story. We can see the whole chain of events that led to us. That knowledge gives us a unique kind of power and, you have to imagine, a unique kind of responsibility, which leaves us with the biggest question of all. Now that we know the story so far, what story are we going to write next?